So if you've never caught a hogfish or just want to catch more hogfish, this video is for you. I've been fishing the last 6 days, fishing the concentrations of hogfish along the west coast of Florida. After that, I decided I want to share a video with y'all explaining what I've learned and what I can share with y'all, and actually some updated stuff that I learned along the way of this journey. So first, let's go into what a hogfish is. A hogfish is a wrasse family fish that is a great eating fish. And I'm going to share the eating, the rigging, every single thing with you throughout this process today. But it is a great eating fish. It's got a bill that's built kind of like a duck, so it's a harder fish to catch. Over the years, hogfish have been known to be a spearfish type of fish, not really rod and reel. They've been harder to catch on rod and reel. Recently, over the last couple of years, we've gotten better and better at catching hogfish. I've been fishing for over 12 years, probably 12 to 15 years. I think I've been saying 12 for a while, professionally along the Gulf Coast. Recently, over the last couple of years, I've moved to Florida and started fishing on the west coast of Florida. So the information I'm going to share with you might not be the most superior information, but it's what I've learned over the last 3 years hog fishing on the west coast of Florida. First, let's talk about season and regulation. Now, as a lot of y'all know in Florida and along the Gulf Coast, that seasons and regulations change pretty periodically lately. The last couple of years, you will get an update like that the season changed. So I highly recommend that you check your wildlife regulations on a regular basis when you go out hog fishing or any other species in the Gulf. I use Fish Rules. That is my favorite go-to app. It's updated and it also works satellite. So when you're out fishing on the water, it can give you updated information. Right now, the regulations on hogfish are 5 per person, which I think is very lenient and a lot of fish. They're 14 inches. Now, that's fork length. Some fish are measured in total length and some fish are measured in fork length. These are in fork. So the inside edge of that flat tail is going to be your overall number. So 14 inches to that point, which is probably going to make the fish around 16. The other thing you have to watch out when you're measuring hogfish is they have a bill that slides out to be able to sift through the sand. That bill can be up to an inch longer than what it would be if it was in. So you definitely need to make sure that the fish is pushed to the board, his bill is pushed in, and you get a good measurement on that fish. That's kind of the simplicity of the regulations on the fish. Now I want to talk to you about where we catch these fish at. And this is going to be probably some of the most information you're going to get. A lot of tools and techniques come into this, and then we're going to go into rigging and other stuff. Let's talk about time of the year. We're going to start this in October is the earliest I usually see it start up. And as it gets colder, fish are going to get thicker and thicker in the inner, work their way into that shallower water, and we're going to start catching hogfish all throughout the cold months of the winter. When I say colder in Florida, I mean water temps 60s, 70s, we start seeing these fish push in really well. I find the cooler the water temperature, the more they like to bite. As that water temperature starts rising, we get the flat, calm days that everybody wants to be out on, and the water warms up, the fish kind of get less active on the water. My go-to depth to start fishing hogfish is gonna be about that 40 to 50 foot range. I have come shallower, and I also have gone deeper. And then if you really want to catch really big hogfish, then you can make runs out into the deep water if you have a big boat. I don't recommend making that run, especially in the winter, because the waves can be bigger and not really be right when it comes to apps, which for wind, I use an app called Wind Finder. It's kind of my go-to, but it's awful lot in the winter. It'll say it's 0.7, 1 foot, and it's really 2 footers out there. So I do not recommend making those long runs to those fish unless you have a twin engine setup or bigger. So that's going to give you the depth of where we like to catch these fish and the water temperature. Now it's about structure. And this is probably one of the most important parts about catching hogfish. There's 2 types of structure that I like to catch hogfish on. One is going to be shelves. That's the most known way. Great tool to use, which I plan on making videos in the future with this. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. There's going to be a lot more videos. I can't fit everything into one video, and I want to get more technical. That is going to be side scan imaging. Side scan imaging allows you to basically map the ocean floor out a certain range, whatever you have it set at, and get the shelves. And you can see the continuous of the shelf and be able to set up on a shelf. Why I like this tool is because a lot of times I don't see them as well on my machine when they're on shelves because they could be tucked in, and they also sift in the sand away from it. So I like to set up on the low end of the shelf, and I like to set off of it 20 feet or so and see if I can't pull these fish out so I don't get in the structure and fish them that way. Another tool that I use when doing this system, and really either one of these 2 systems that I'm going to talk about that I like to find areas, is right actually behind me. I'll grab it. It's called Spot On. They make an app. There's also other ones like Navonics, strike line charts, depending on if you have Simrad. I have Garmin's in my boat. We can't run strike lines. We can't run Seymour. We run a system in the boat called Spot On. This is their portable system, okay? It's a tablet screen that allows me to have maps on my boat and take it with me other places, pins and all that, to where it just suction cup mounts onto my dash or any other boat or even my truck. I use it also for a lot of other types of sports that I need mapping and need to know where I'm at. This allows me to find those areas to try. So I will go into an area, find the mapping, find the contours, and it literally maps it out. It allows me to find an area to work, and then I'll work over to my side scan or just my regular sonar to find the shelves and start fishing the shelves. Another great way, one of my favorite ways to catch numbers of hogfish, is going to be to find a rocky bottom. This bottom is going to be rocky, and you're really going to be able to see these fish very clear on the sonar units on the boats. The fish will be in a squiggly line, and they'll be sitting on top of these rocky areas. These are going to be broken rock areas where grunts, mangroves, grouper, and hogfish all like to hang out. This is normally where I find my schools of hogfish. This is where the hogfish are going to be schooling up better. As to where the shelves, I'm going to find it here and there. The last 6 days we have fished, and out of 4 of those days we caught over 75 hogfish. Not all keepers. Only one day we got our limit. A limit of hogfish is hard to come by. Those were all on rocky bottom areas that were holding schools and big congregations of hogfish. Those are great areas to find too, once again on the spot on system. You can also use the side scan imaging for that, but it's a lot better for the shelves, and we will get into both of these units in further videos talking about electronics on the channel. So now we've reached the part of the video where we're going to talk about rigging. I'm going to jump up in the boat and share some new techniques that I've learned over the last 6 days with you on how I rig and rods and reels that I use for hog fishing. All right, guys, so now we're in the boat and let's talk the rigging, okay? Actually, before we go to that, let's talk about rods and reels. So when I go hog fishing, I carry 2 different rod and reel types with me at all times. Not saying there's not a good reason to bring other ones. Could run across cobia, different things on the surface, and no telling what. So doesn't hurt to have extra rods, but there's always 2 types of rods I bring on a boat. This is going to be like a medium heavy 7'6" on a 3,000 to 4,000 K reel. This is kind of just kind of a bottom rig for me, single hook setup, and just a great way to fight the fish, okay? It allows you to fight the fish a lot more, which I think is fun. I don't like overpowering my gear a lot. Some people do, but I like to get the full effect of the fish when I'm fishing. This is gonna have anywhere between 20 and 30 pound braid on it. I suggest 30, but you can get away with 20. Another rig I like to bring is this right here. This is a heavy rod, 7'6" with a 5K reel on it. Even medium heavy, depending on the brand. Some rods are a little stiffer than others. It's a fast action rod, and it's a great setup to do other things that I'm going to share with you in a second that I've learned here recently. But those are the 2 types of rods I bring. This one's going to have probably 30 pound braid on it. Sometimes they have 40 because I multiple use them. These 5Ks a lot of times I use for tarpon fishing and other things other times of the year, so I try and multi-use them. You can get away with 40 pound main line, and I'm going to tell you why right now. The reason why you can get away with that is because we're going to run fluorocarbon leader. These are the 2 leaders that I always carry, and you can even carry a third one, a 40 pounder with you if you'd like. I like to run 6 to 8 foot of leader, and the reason why I run 6 to 8 foot is because if I break off a fish or I get snagged or I get a grouper that takes me in a hole and I have to pop it, I literally can pop off 6 inches and tie back on, and I have to tie a complete new leader. You can get away with a leader as low as 4 feet, but the longer the leader, the better. That's just in fishing in general. If you can run a longer leader, it's not gonna hurt you, it's only gonna help you. The 2 leaders that I like to keep in my boat, for when the fish are finicky, I like to keep 20 or 25 pound leader. When the fish are biting good, my go-to is a 30 pound leader. 30 is what you're gonna see on all these rods right now. That's what I was fishing with for the last 6 days. So those are the 2 leaders. That's my main line. Those are my 2 rods. All right, so I'm gonna take a little break from the teaching to show you all a cool kit that I put together that can help you catch more hogfish or your first hogfish, and also supports me and allows me to make these videos. So I've tried to put together different kits for different species with our products that we can ship out. Let me share it with you real quick. First of all, you're gonna get 2 rolls of leader. You're gonna get a roll of 30 and a roll of 20. And I'll also give you all some special pricing on this at the end, and a little throw-in, I think. You get 2 packs of our snapper jigs. You get 2 packs of our sweeper jigs. You'll also get 2 packs of our hog balls. So allow you to do just about anything you want to do down there. You're also going to get a pack of our 3/0 circle hooks. You're also going to get a bag of beads, and you're also going to get thrown in a pack of split shots, okay? All of this will allow you to pretty much do everything you need to do. It is a $75 value that during this video and for the fall season, this 2025-26 hogfish season, I'm going to price it at $49.99. The link is down in the description below. I appreciate all the support, and we're going to get y'all right back into the video. Let's get into rigs. And I'm also going to share with you some rigs I use out there for sheephead and other stuff, because there is other bycatch. We are on reefs, we are on structure, and it's not just hogfish. If you can mix the box up, being that you're not going to catch a limit of hogfish, it's always a great thing to do when you're on a spot. So let's go into those things first. First thing I like for all those kind of things is called a sweeper jig. And you're going to see all these in our kit, or you've already seen it. You'll have the option to get that either now or in the link in the description below. These are sweeper jigs. We make them anywhere from 3/8 ounce to 1 ounce. These are products that we sell directly. Will work great. Very, very useful for multiple species type of jig. Another one I like to have is what we call a snapper jig. They call them yellowtail snapper jigs, but they're used for a lot of other things. They work great on sheephead too. They work great on other species. If you need more weight, they come in about an 1/8 ounce weight, more for free lining and letting it out the back and sinking down slow, which we'll talk about more here in a second. But if you need more weight, you can always put a 1/4 or 3/8, what they call a knocker rig, on top of this, which I'll show you that setup in a minute with a regular hook, but you could do the same thing with this to have the smaller hook. The third way is one of the most popular ways, not my favorite way, but one of the most popular ways to catch hogfish in Florida. It is called a hog ball. They will also be in the kit. It is a very, very common way. What it is, and I will pull one out for y'all. You'll see these at all your local tackle shops. It is a weight, come in all different colors and different sizes, down from 1/2 ounce all the way up to 1 1/4 ounce. It has a hole for your line on this side and a hook attached to the rig permanently on the other side. These are a very, very common way to catch hogfish and other species that are on the bottom in the Gulf. If you have not caught on so far that most of these species, most of these rigs are down on the bottom. So your hogfish are gonna hang in that first, I don't know, 5 foot off the bottom range. That's really where you're gonna target these fish and other species down there too. Sheephead will also suspend up high, but we got other videos coming for that. So if you haven't subscribed, make sure you do. Working on a sheephead video right behind this one, and a lot of electronic stuff and different things coming up too. So let's go into the rigs that I like to use or that I have rigged up on these poles for bait, for hogfish. The first is the most common rig. It's what I hook 60 to 70% of my anglers that are on my boat. I hook them up with this rig. This is a knocker rig. And on a knocker rig, just to give you an idea, when I'm in 40, 50 feet of water, I'm typically going to have anywhere between 3/4 ounce to 2 ounces. This is 1.5 ounces. This has been our go-to the last couple days, and it has worked phenomenally well. So you'll have the weight, okay? And when I tie my fluorocarbon to my main line, there's 2 different ways you can do that. It's actually up here because I got about 7 feet. This one's ready to go. It's a fresh rig. I do it either with an FJ knot or a uni knot, which once again, there'll be other videos that talk about different knot styles. Those are your 2 best knots, FJ being the #1 way to keep your main line from breaking that knot up there. Uni is a second best and a lot easier to tie for a lot of people. So when we get down here, we're gonna have the weight, which is a 1.5, and we are gonna have 2 beads. And sometimes I'll have 3 beads. And the reason why I have the beads is to disconnect the weight from the hook. There's 2 reasons behind that. One, I want the fish to be able to hook up the hook without putting the weight in his mouth. Makes it more natural appearance. And then 2, I want this weight when it comes up not to smack my knot and beat my knot up or disconnect my fish from my hook. I want some kind of buffer in between there, so after 2 or 3 fish I catch, because you will get a lot of bycatch or grunts and stuff, I don't have a knot that's been beat on and smashed down to where when I get that monster hogfish, he pops off. Then we're gonna go with a 3/0 hook. Okay, it's a 3/0 circle hook. That's gonna be my go-to for hogfish. Bait of choice? Well, I've seen multiple things. I've seen guys use greenbacks and pilchards and stuff like that cut up. I am not a fan. I think you get a lot more bycatch. My #1 go-to bait and the only bait I use when I'm catching hogfish is gonna be shrimp, okay? I'm either gonna use dead shrimp or live shrimp if I can get them. I like the smaller shrimp. Because a hogfish has a bill that likes to kind of pick away, and I'll talk to you more about the bite in a second, the smaller the shrimp seems to get them on the hook. So if I have a monster shrimp hooked on there, he's usually gonna bite the back half of the shrimp, and then when I go to set the hook, he's gonna pull it off. If I got a small shrimp on there, he's gonna bite my hook a lot better. When I go to set the hook, I got my hogfish. That is gonna be, like I said, 60%. Now, recently here, I went and filmed a video with See Ya Dude and Hog Squad and learned something new. Hog Squad is from California and they fish a lot of wrasse fish out there. And he said, hey, I wanna try something. I wanna try a chicken rig, what we call a chicken rig, which once again, in the shop, I'm gonna have something really cool coming soon for that. And that's gonna be for snapper, grouper, all kind of different things. Something that's really easy to rig and fast coming soon. I'm waiting on it to come over right now and get into my inventory. Back to the conversation. He says, let's try this. Well, he ended up catching us like 3-to-1, 4-to-1 on hogfish and even doubled up on a couple. Let's share that with you. And that's where this 5K comes in, right? If I'm gonna run 2 baits, I'm gonna run a heavier rod and reel to be able to handle it because I'm running a heavier weight too. So we were running anywhere between 2 ounces to really 4 ounces of weight on the bottom, leader, and a hook. 3/0, same old circle hook, tied a little bit above it with a little tag on it, and then one more above that. So the first one's about 1 foot off the bottom, the second one is almost 3 feet off the bottom, 2.5, and that was working really well. When we look back at the underwater video, which I'm sure you're seeing or have seen in this video, you can see that there's a lot of cracks and crevices. And what happens is the hogfish try and nose down into it and really can't get it too well. As to where when this is up, it's more at their eye level, like he says. They feed down, but their eyes are on top of their head. They see it, they pick it up, much easier for us to set the hook and land the fish. It worked. Not saying it's always gonna work, but it was a very, very effective way of catching fish. I would not recommend going down to 20-pound leader on this, but that was a very, very effective way to catch fish. So let's talk about the bite now, okay? When you get a bite on a hogfish, a lot of times what's gonna end up happening is, let me grab some kind of jig, big jig so you can see it. I'll kind of mimic it the best I can with my hands. What's gonna happen is that hogfish is gonna come up in the sand or in the rocks and start nipping at it, right? He's nipping at it. You're gonna feel little tugs. Do not set the hook. You will just lose your bait. You need to feel that weight get on there. So you're gonna feel a nip, 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 and then the rod tip's gonna be heavy. Just real tight, and you're gonna have that fish. That first, I don't know, 20 seconds when he digs, just hang on. You're not trying to gain line, you're not trying to turn the reel. The number one thing you wanna do is set the hook, or real tight to the hook if it's a circle, set up tight, and just hang on and be in a good position. Okay, let that fish dig and try and dig back down and spin. He'll go into circles and spin. Once you feel like he's let off a little bit, then drop your live tip just as fast as you can reel and start cranking on him and get another crank. Once you get him 5-10 feet off the bottom, he's pretty much yours. You just have to get through that initial pull. And a lot of times he'll pull drag, so you just gotta hang on and play tug of war with him in order to get that fish. So let's talk about some of the common mistakes that are made with hogfish. The number one thing I see from anglers is too much weight. So you wanna try and make it to where that weight can touch the bottom and not move, but not too much. So I'll see anglers throwing 4 ounces, 5 ounces in 40, 50 feet of water. You gotta understand, when that goes to the bottom, it hits hard, it spooks fish. You want just enough weight to get it down there, and it can even move a little bit. It can move a foot every 5-10 seconds. Let it move around a little bit, let it be natural. That's one of the biggest things I see that people do. Another is they swing too hard. And what I mean by that is when they go set the hook, they are ranking at it. It's a circle hook, guys. Roll down the rod tip a little bit, crank, feel the weight, then just lift up and crank. We're not trying to set a hook on a circle hook. We're trying to get what we call tight. It's a big problem that people miss a lot of fish and probably leave a lot of great fish on the bottom that don't make it to the dinner table. And the third biggest thing I see is I see guys get too short of a leader. So they'll either tie direct braid to their rig, which is just way too visible for the fish, especially in these waters, or they'll only have a 1-foot piece of leader. The fish is seeing that line there, it's throwing him off, and he won't eat it. You'll get a lot of trash fish, a lot of grunts. Grunts will eat just about anything. I don't understand that. One of the few fish that we don't want to keep very much ends up being the one that eats anything and everything that you put in front of it. But in order to get a good hogfish, I recommend a minimum of 4 feet. Like I said, I like that 6 to 8 foot so I can break off and still have more room, and the more the better. You can't go wrong with more leader. Fluorocarbon is invisible. I'm not a fan of mono. Mono stretches. The knots are not as strong, and the visibility is not as clear. Fluorocarbon is my go-to with that. So now my favorite part, when you get back to the house or to the dock and it's time to clean up your hogfish that you've now caught. They clean just like any other species. I find they clean like a speckled trout, redfish, anything like that. They're a flat fillet that you just cut right down the backbone, and then it's got a rib cage that you just cut out of the rib cage. There is a small pin bone line down the bloodline right there that you have to make sure you trim out in a little bit of a V. Once you get that fish filleted up, it is one of the most tasty fish you will ever eat. It's actually so good of a fish. There's not much bloodline in it, and it really doesn't have a lot of flavor. So I do flavor it up a little bit. Lemon pepper, blackened, there's a bunch of different ways. When I was on my last 6 days of fishing, I had some fresh cooked up on one of our film days. I had it fried, it was absolutely phenomenal. When I fry, just a little trick, instead of using egg for your wash, use mustard. A little Louisiana thing we've done for years. We put a little light mustard, yellow mustard on it, then batter it and fry it up. It gives an amazing flavor. One of my other favorite ways to do it is blackened. I love blackened fish. You get a skillet really hot, and then you go ahead and put blackened season on and sear it off on both sides. That works best with a pasta, a lemon caper sauce, or something like that. Goes phenomenally with blackened fish. You can also grill them, but you're gonna have to come up with a couple certain ways to keep them from falling apart because they are a flaky fish. There's really no way you can go wrong cooking up a hogfish. They're one of the tastiest fish in the ocean, well, in the Gulf and ocean actually. You don't get them a lot of places because they're not really commercially caught, so you won't see them at restaurants very much. You're gonna have to catch them and bring them on home and have that really tasty dinner. So as you saw in the video, simplicity wins a lot of times, and sometimes you don't have to get too fancy in order to catch really good fish. Hopefully you find some good spots. Hopefully this helps you catch more hogfish out on your next journey. If not, give us a call. We'll be happy to take you out with Florida Fishing Company. Please subscribe and give us any comments of any other things you'd like to see, any other species or anything. I'm happy to share anything I've learned over the years with y'all. Check out those kits, man. They work perfectly. It's a great value, and I will see y'all in the next video. Thanks for watching.